Hi, everyone.
Hey, party people, what's going on?
Hello.
Make sure everybody can hear us.
Hi.
So, with me today is my lovely co host, Mina. Filling in for Filia is 242,
Hello.
and our lovely guest, Penny Tails Up.
Hi.
So, Penny, why
I
don't we
can.
start off by saying hi to the peoples in the chat, and then you
Yes.
tell them about yourself. Hey, Rando, what's going on, dude?
Hey, Rando.
Hey,
Hey,
Rando.
X. Nice to see you, buddy.
We've got Mandy Mortem,
Mandy, thanks for coming.
your ex, Rando Calracian. Of course, Penny.
It's everyone.
Okay, I'm here. I'm just weirdly nervous. I don't know why.
Don't be nervous.
Don't be.
We
We don't
fight
bite much.
unless you want us to.
I'm Penny. I am a writer, narrator, and artist. I've been around for about 3 years on and off. And people probably notice that I kind of disappear and come back here and there. So it hasn't been a solid 3 years. But I hear myself in the background. Give me a
You
second.
do?
We don't hear you on this side, so that's a good sign.
No, we're not getting an echo here.
Okay, good. Maybe it's just my phone then. Okay. So let's see. What
need
should
to
I
redo that.
say? I don't even.
Well,
Whatever you want to say.
back from your hiatus. Yes. Are you still in Alaska?
Yes.
I'm remembering that right. Okay. Which gives you a unique perspective on everything, actually.
I guess so. I mean, I've been here most of my life, so I'm used to it. I live in the biggest city in Alaska, so not everybody knows where I live. But
It's not Anchorage, everybody.
Real quick, just saying hi to the Raven. He's in the Birdman is in the chat.
Birdman is in the chat. The Birdman has made
Birdman has landed.
3,000.
Birdman has landed. Yes, everybody, please congratulate Raven on hitting 3K today.
oh, I saw that. Congratulations, Raven.
Hey,
Patience.
patience. Hey, don't pay.
Also, Filia, who is again not feeling well and not with us today, and we're really hoping that she feels better. She hit 400 earlier today, and so everybody, if you're not subscribed to somebody here, go listen to them, check them out, and subscribe because they're all wonderful people.
Links are in the description.
Also,
And don't forget to hit that like button.
You know what? Penny?
Make sure it feels it.
You know what? Shameless plug for Penny. Also, guys, if you guys are looking for commissioned artwork, Penny does commissions.
Yes, she does.
I do.
She also does amazing speed paints. If you've ever watched any of her videos, they're amazing.
It's funny because I only started doing those because I was so afraid of violating copyright infringement that I was like, well, I can't violate copyright if I put my own art in there. So that really was the only reason I started doing it. It was just because I was afraid. Not because I thought, wow, I'm a great artist. People will love to watch this. I actually thought that nobody really pays attention to the video portion of it. They listen to it. At least that's how I usually consume narrations, is that I am at work listening, I'm not watching. And then people actually paid attention to the art, and I was so embarrassed. Like, you're not supposed to actually look at that. I've improved a lot.
I
The
think
thing
when
is-
I found your channel, that was my first comment to you. Was like, "Hey, I love watching you make your art on the video."
The thing is, I watch the ones that like you have something actually going on. I think that's why I kind of got the idea of doing my videos the way I do mine. um, from watching people like Penny do their videos because
Where
I
you go buku cray cray on the pictures.
yeah because I do watch those type of videos. Now, yeah, if I'm listening to Your Maker or I'm listening, well, Your Makers I have to watch occasionally, but if I'm listening to like Let's Read, and this graphic is the same, or I'm listening to Mortis Media and the graphic is black, um, I'm probably gonna have my eyes closed or be focused on looking at something else and just listening. But
Yeah.
if it's somebody that's actually got something going on the screen, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch Penny do her art. I'm gonna watch Aisha do her art. I'm gonna watch 42 put words up there that I really would like to know how she does. Um,
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the screen change. I'm gonna, it's things like that, and it's different. Each, I think that's what's so great about our community.
I do love to see everybody's different take on how to be a narrator. Everyone does it a little differently.
Hmm.
Then you got me, whose internet sucks so hard that if I try to do anything special, it uploads more, increases my upload time by like 4 hours. So I just go, you know what? Intro picture, outro picture the same. Rest of the video is a thumbnail. Enjoy.
I
Well,
mean, there's
we're
nothing
hoping to
wrong
get
with
that
that.
fixed for you.
Oh,
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Um,
I mean,
but
like I said, the way I usually listen to videos is that I actually just listen to them. I have the app closed, I'm at work. I wouldn't be allowed to be caught looking at my phone, so being able to listen is a godsend for me. Keeps
uh-huh.
me
Yeah.
sane.
well, who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody, and I said, well, I'm having trouble finding a picture for this, and they're like, well, just use something else, and I'm like, well, no, I can't do that because I'm at a certain point in the story, and I need this picture, and he's like, why do you need that picture? I remember, and I go, have you actually watched any of my videos? And he goes, I'm ashamed to say this, but I've not even listened to any of your videos, and I'm like, well, it's the way I do my videos. And
Yeah.
I left it at that because I don't know how else to explain it.
And
If you
I know
haven't
what you
watched,
mean.
and
you
here's the
know,
thing, like I just listen to the videos. I don't really watch this. Even if somebody has something going on, like changing the screen, I'm always doing multiple things while listening to videos, so I'm never
hmm
watching the screen.
now again, if it's this is going to sound really weird, and I'm going to ask you this question, Penny, so it's coming.
Yeah.
When I'm writing, I will have like Let's Read or Mortis Media or somebody that I don't have to actually watch the screen. Raven, um, because he usually doesn't have too much going on the screen. Um, but I will I will have them going on if I'm, especially if I'm on the laptop, because I can't have the writing software up and see the YouTube screen. When I'm over here at the computer, I can have the YouTube screen on one screen and I can have the words that I'm typing on the other screen. So I'll be listening and listening. And I don't know why, but it helps me write. Even though I'm not writing anything that has anything to do with what they're saying.
Uh,
I'm yeah, and yes, that helps me. Um, and it helps me get over hard spots, like when I'm having a writer's block point. Do you do something like that, Penny?
Listen to other narrators
Mm-hmm.
sometimes because I have this problem where I think it's because I, until recently, was a college student. I start to write what I'm listening to. So I'll be
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of something and then I'll have just written down what the narrator just said. So in my case, I actually need to go with something that doesn't have words or lyrics. So I have some
Hmm.
playlists I use. But unfortunately, if I start listening to somebody, I'll probably start taking notes on what they're saying. I think it's just because I got so used to doing that as a
Mm.
student. And it's just like an instinct at this point. So I have to be careful. I can't have
Yeah.
any words and whatever I'm listening to, but I can't have quiet either. So I have a bunch of playlists I use.
I okay, Raven does the same thing. Uh,
I
when
can't.
you can't.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I know. When I was in college, though, I in high school, I had to. I guess my mind can't take silence in any way. It has to have more than one thing going on. I used to watch television and do my homework.
You know, if it's something that I'm very familiar with, it would be a bit different.
Mm,
If I'm, for example, I have a movie on in the background that I've seen 1,000 times, I'm not paying as much attention to that to the point that it distracts me because I already know what they're gonna say and what's gonna
mm,
happen. But if it's something new, I it I can't help but pay attention to that, and it messes up my writing stream.
mm.
But
I,
when I'm drawing, I do the same thing. For some reason, drawing, I can do it. And I love listening to narrators while I'm drawing. It inspires me. It'll even, I feel like the mood of the story will actually impact the colors I choose, for example. Um, but with writing, I can't. It's just too many words.
Edith, hey,
Hey.
Hey, Mina, what's going on, Vid?
Lone Wolf has joined us as well. I listened to some
Oh,
Wolf this week as also.
sorry. My side
Hello.
is a little slow sometimes to get all that stuff because I'm in the
Um,
app and it takes time to get there.
yeah, yeah.
Now, see, what you guys are talking about, I'm hit or miss for that. Because there are times where I can write while listening to a narrator, and then there's times where I can't. But the times that I can write while listening to narrator, something the narrator said sparked an idea, and while I'm still listening to that guy, I'll start going and I'll just start typing away like a freaking madman.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Vidith is another one that I can listen to.
Oh,
And
dude, Vidith is freaking amazing.
there's so many that I listen to. And Penny, when we did that collab for Valentine's Day, you did pictures for each one of the stories.
Yes, I had a lot of fun doing that. For
That
my
was
next one,
amazing.
I'm gonna do the same thing when I do one again. I'm kind of trying to get myself to pick up steam again before I
Mhm.
start committing to big projects because I don't want to let people down. And if I involve people, I kind of risk letting them down. So I'm still just get some things done on my own before I start doing collabs again.
Okay.
I mean, aside from the typical ones where, hey, read some lines for me, that I can do any day of the week.
Yeah.
It doesn't stress me out. But when I have to do full art for everything, that's a little more labor intensive.
Yeah.
Real quick, Raptor Rex showed up.
Yes.
What's going on, Raptor?
I see that. Doing pretty good, Vidith. Good to see you here. Good to see all of you here. Glad to have you here with us. Um, I remember watching the art, and I've watched it several times now that you did for my story. And every time I watch it, I don't know why, because I know what you're going to draw. I know what's going to end up being there. I'm not expecting it every time. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't realize she did it like that. Oh,
Well, makes me happy that you enjoyed it because I'm self-conscious about the art and I don't know why. Because I have never had anybody go on my video and say your art sucks. Not once. I've had like everything else insulted but my art, but I still am very self-conscious about it.
Well, your art's
I don't know
fantastic.
why.
why would it,
If anybody tells you differently, just remember, your good old pal PA will repossess their kneecap because you can't spell pal without PA.
That's true. Thank you. I mean, there's so many talented artists in the community too, and I think that's part of the problem is that I compare myself.
that might be.
Because
I'm-
there's so many that I'm like, oh man, I wish I could draw like that. I can't. My style is too different. And again, when I started putting my art in my videos, it wasn't because I thought it was good. It was because I knew I wouldn't accidentally violate copyright.
Right. Right.
And I think that my channel, I think anybody could look at it and know it's me. So
Oh
I
yeah.
stand out. But so I think that that's cool too. Is that my channel kind of it has a look to it. It's recognizable.
Yes, she is a horror narrator and an horror artist. Um,
Yes, I'm a triple threat. I write, I narrate, I draw.
yes, she is a triple threat, and she writes some great stuff.
She's
Um,
an amazing person, so she's got the full package.
yeah, tell
Also,
you.
Rando, is that any better, dude? Rando said I was kind of quiet.
Yes, I've turned you up twice now because he's not the only one who said something, but
I turned myself up some of my own on my end, so that might help.
okay, thank you.
um, so Lily Madwith.
Oh my gosh, I love Lily Madwhip. I didn't write Lily Madwhip. I have to
I
always be
know.
very clear about that. But I can't help it. It's like my favorite thing I've ever done. And it hasn't been continuing only because one of my good friends was editing it for me, and he has been a bit busy. So he hasn't been available to help me edit, and I just feel like if I edit it, I'll ruin it. Because the characters are children, and
They are.
I can act a child's voice, but I can't get the editing to match up just right with how he edited it. So I just feel like if I continue it by myself, I'll ruin it. And at this point, I need to get over it because I really want to finish that series. I love it.
That series is so great, and I have heard one other person do it. I can't even remember who, but every time I think of that, I think of you. I it's like
I
you are Lily to me in my head. I
thank
know you're
you.
not Lily, but you are Lily in my head.
I when I got I usually only narrate my own stuff, but with that series, I just had to make an exception. And the author of that series, he is the nicest guy, and he periodically checks up on me. He's like, "Hey, so when is the next one gonna come out?" And I'm like, "Don't pressure me, but soon, I hope." But even he loves it, and that is the biggest compliment that I can get is if the author also
Mhm.
likes it. If I'm doing
Mhm.
it justice to that point, and he likes the art too. You-
I feel that way when I do somebody else's writing too. It's like, and PA can tell you this. When I did Rando's story, when I did Sabian's story, when I was doing Beautiful Nightmares book, I was a nervous wreck. I was like,
There's an
oh my
added layer
gosh.
of pressure.
Yeah. It's like, I don't care if anybody else
Yeah.
likes it. I want the author to like what I'm doing. I want the
Also,
author to appreciate it.
you need to like it yourself, because if you don't like it, then you're 1,000,000% sure the author's not gonna like it.
Right.
Like,
Well, I don't
that,
know about that because I think everybody's a little self-critical. I tend to have this phase
well,
where I hate everything I do,
yeah.
and
Well, I
then
just
other people reassure me that it's not that bad.
yeah. Well,
You
Right.
hate your voice too.
I just did a story for Creepy Ghost Stories, from his book. So that I put a lot of pressure on myself for. In fact, that's the real reason there wasn't a video on Wednesday, because it took so much to get that one story done and to get it done to where I didn't hate it, that by the time I would have, but I used up all my time to record on Wednesday, and the time that I would have had, I just said, screw this, I'm just going to play video games because I need a break.
I
So
think
I get the pressure. It's
I think it's something that we do to ourselves.
It is.
I mean, if I'm right, I've said it um, on my channel actually in the new channel trailer. My own writing, I'm worried about actually people enjoying the story and the writing and anything there that has um, that is all me. I'm worried about people accepting it. Period. So I
Well,
can't imagine putting that. I can't draw. I can't do art. I can't do that. You just amaze me on that. Okay.
well, thank you. Uh, I know that with any art form, you put a little piece of yourself into it. So I think that's why people who are creative always feel that way, at least to an extent, because it's not really just your work that you're worried people will like, it's also you. Because the story,
Mm-hmm.
the art, it's also a part of you. And if anyone criticizes it, it can feel like they're criticizing you, even
Mm-hmm.
though it's not you, it's something separate. But I feel like you get kind of intertwined with your own work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you guys don't feel this way, but like, especially when I'm recording my own stuff, I don't care nearly as much because I know how I want to portray the character. I know it's my story, so I know I've done it right. And if other people don't like it, that's kind of on them because it's my story and I can do what I want with it.
I
Well, I had one story that was narrated by the No Sleep podcast,
Oh wow.
and
I remember this.
I have a few of them, but I had one in particular where I had somebody who listened to the No Sleep podcast. They came and they found my channel and they found that story, and then they told me the No Sleep podcast did it better.
Oh.
And
Oh.
duh, because they're a professional cast and crew, and
Yeah.
I'm just me. But
It's
at
your
the same time,
story.
it's like they wouldn't have been able to have it to do it better if not for me in the first place. So I know what you mean, but oh my gosh, people can be so mean.
Maybe
Yeah,
so
they
cruel.
Mhm.
But I would say by and large, I get way more compliments than insults, but you just tend to remember the insults more. And I think that's human nature.
I wrote a I wrote a rant on my blog about and especially from the female point of view. And I'm sorry, guys. I know it happens to men too, but I'm female, so I take a lot of things from the female point of view. Okay. But basically, it was, when somebody when somebody gives a woman a compliment, she either accepts it and internally just naysays it, or just puts it aside. But if somebody comes up to her and says, "Your eyes are too close," or "You don't look right in that dress," or, whatever the insult is, they internalize that. And at least I know I do. We internalize it, we hold on to it. So anything negative, it just stays right there at the tip of your head going, okay, how do I fix this? How do I make this negative point in my being go away?
And a lot of
And
it you can't change.
yeah, even if it's something you can't change. I can't change how close my eyes are.
Yeah, right.
I can't change that the light yellow shirt makes me look even whiter than I am. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get that. And honestly, I think that's part of the reason why I'm such a sarcastic smartass all the time. It's because I got so used to people insulting me that my skin got so thick that now whenever someone insults me, I just throw it right back at them.
Those negative things. It's like, well, I bring it up again, but when somebody accused me of being, it's a backhanded compliment. Yeah, but it's, somebody says, well, she's being passive aggressive because she's telling people what they can do better in their videos, and she's got less than 400 people sub to her. Okay, I've been listening to audios a lot longer than I've been doing them, and if there's something that I hear that you might be able to do better, or that you missed in an edit or something, I'm going to give you that as what I'm hoping is constructive criticism. That, hey, the way you said this sentence, our main support was the carpentry work he did. Okay, that's just a sentence out of the blue. If you say our main support was the carpentry work he did, that's a whole lot different.
Yeah.
And if I say, if you just put it back together a little bit more, don't, you know, feel more comfortable with yourself. Is that being passive aggressive when I'm trying to help you? Whoops. Almost hit my mic.
No,
that's not
but
that's not
some
passive
people
aggressive.
don't want criticism, constructive or not. They just want compliments. Some
Look,
people can't hear you say anything that they could perceive as negative at all.
Mm.
yeah, look, I don't mind um criticism as long as it's given respectfully and out of like a desire to help. Like I remember Lone Wolf, I believe it was, in one of my videos, he said something about the fading in, fading out of my intros and outros, which I'm working on, by the way. I gotta learn how to do that. But I took that and I was like, that's a good suggestion. I'm going to try to apply that. But like, you just but I like I like the tips and the help because at the
I
end of the
want
day,
them.
even though I didn't want them, I'd still appreciate them because at the end of the day, if I take them, my stuff's gonna improve, or I can just ignore them and not take them, but they're still there for my disposal.
Right.
Like,
Right. Well, it's like when you heard that misedit in Vitus collaboration,
yeah, that
or
was
not
freaking
collaboration.
hilarious. Loved
You
it.
didn't mean, hey, dude, you screwed up. You were like, hey, dude, that's funny.
Hey,
Uh,
dude, thanks for the laugh. I think my words was, hey, dude, thanks for the laugh. I really needed that. And he's like, how did I make you laugh? And I told him, and he's like, oh shit, now I got to hear this for myself.
I've gone into people who have, I messed up my edit, and somebody will mess up their edit, and I'll put in a timestamp like, here, you said the same thing twice. Did you mean to do that, or was that an edit issue? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they said that twice in the writing. I don't know. I haven't got the writing in front of me. Oh, really, Raptor Rex? Okay. Yes,
Exactly. When
exactly.
criticism comes from a good place, it's not really criticism. It's tips to
And
improve.
Yep, you
and
can
when
usually tell what the intention of a piece of criticism is based on what it is exactly.
mhm.
And how they
If it's
word
something
it.
you can't actually act on, then it's not coming from a good place. Like if somebody posts on there that I don't like your voice. Okay,
Oh
what am I
God.
supposed to do about that?
Well,
I can't change my
there's
voice.
these lovely other narrators you can go listen to. Have a good day.
Piss off, you bloody wanker.
Well, it's like that one person that said they were gonna go thumbs down all my videos because I'm a female narrator.
Oh my
Well,
god.
one of
There
my
does
very
seem to be like a group of people who don't like women narrators
I
just
don't
because
understand
they're
that
women.
because
There are.
female narrators, well, not only are they as good as as good as any other male narrator, but they can bring a story to life in more in better ways than a male narrator can, especially if it's from a female perspective.
Yeah.
Well, I think
But
it's funny that they don't like female narrators, but then they'll listen to a guy say, "I'm a 25-year-old female
girl,
and I live in Chicago," and I'm like,
I like
"You'll
them there
listen."
pizzas.
hourglass shaped body and blonde hair.
I like them.
It,
I
it,
like them there pizzas from
not that
Chicago.
there's not. Don't take me wrong, guys. It has nothing to do with it being wrong from a male narrator. But if you're gonna say you don't like female narrators, but you'll listen to a guy tell a story from a female point of view, how does that make sense?
Right?
It doesn't. So much of the horror stories out there are from a female perspective. I mean, a lot of the victims in horror movies are women.
Yeah.
There's a lot of horror movies have female leads, so it's really weird to me that when you get to narration, suddenly it should be men for a lot of people. But I love narrators on both sides. And the first narrators I've listened to, they were men. And when I first started my channel, I honestly thought I was like one of the only female narrators. And then I just realized there's a ton of them. They're just, I think a lot of them are underappreciated,
I feel
unfortunately.
bad for
Oh,
I feel bad for
yeah.
female.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, so I feel bad for female narrators because you guys get one of two things. You get the assholes that are like, I hate your voice because you're a woman, or then you get those other ones that are like, oh, you're a woman narrator. I'm just gonna creep on you because that's what I can do.
Oh yeah, they'll contact you in your DMs. So, what do you look like? That has nothing
So
to do with
why
my
haven't you?
channel or voice.
So why haven't you done a face reveal? We want to see your boobies.
It's not a
Right.
You
face
haven't done a
reveal.
face reveal, so you must be ugly.
Oh, golly.
Eh,
I think we all get that one.
I haven't
Lady
gotten that
Spucaria.
yet, but I'm
I
pretty small, so
Lady
and
Spucaria on Twitter had this guy say that if she didn't do a face reveal, she had to be a trans.
a transgender woman.
Yeah, it was horrible.
why
It was
people?
it was disgusting, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there going, Lady Spucaria is wonderful. Have you
And
listened to her?
They don't care.
No, I haven't done his face reveal for two reasons. One, it's security for me. Two, I don't want someone to listen to my narrations, my stories, my writing, or anything and judge me on my looks.
Raven, you shut your face. You are a beautiful man.
You're a beautiful bird man. Deal with it.
But so the closest thing I've had to an insult on one of my videos was the first one I did, where the person said that the ending was predictable. First of all, that ending was not predictable. Thank you very much. But second of all, I went. My reply was, "But did you still enjoy the story?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, that's all that matters then."
That's what I usually try to go back to when I get an insult is, well, I'm glad you enjoyed the story anyway, in spite of whatever insult they said. And I really don't get too many of them. I really don't. It's just the ones you do get are the comments that stick in your mind.
Yeah.
It's the ones you remember, yeah.
Somebody said it takes 10 positive compliments to wipe out one negative.
And that honestly tracks for me. I don't know why it's easier to believe the insult than the compliment. You just need more compliments to believe them.
Because we want to see the worst in ourselves. That's the
Or
problem.
unbiased compliments, because I know I and PA will, I think 42's heard me do it too. I will take a compliment from a friend or someone that I care about, somebody that I know, and I will naysay it. You know, you're biased, so I can't really trust what you say.
I was about to say the same thing basically is I'm more likely to believe a stranger than a friend because I'm like, well, my friend has to like me. They're my friend. So of course they're gonna say that and not
Well,
mean
then
it.
there's the other
Ugh.
side of it where your friends are the ones who should be telling you, you know, that purple hair really doesn't work with your eyes.
Oh,
Hey,
oh,
or
if I give you a
I have
compliment,
purple hair right now, actually.
if I give you a compliment,
Okay, I was just laughing.
know that it's real. Because if I don't believe it, I ain't gonna say it.
I was just pulling that out of the air. I mean, I'm always telling my daughter, if somebody tells you that your hair is purple and you know it's not, why are you worrying about what they're saying?
Oh, I just thought it was a funny coincidence because I actually have purple hair right now.
There you go. I'm staring at your picture on the screen right now, and it's red. Damn it.
I haven't
an
changed
old
that picture
picture.
in years.
That I
It's-
love that image, though.
It's
That's Penny.
outdated. Leave Penny alone. She did the picture. You know, this was what she looked, you know, a few years ago. Okay, let it be. The eyes are growing
Yeah,
back
her-
in.
Totally
I
not a
didn't say
black-eyed
that.
child anymore.
It's like the way in 42. I'm going to pick on you a minute.
Ooh.
Your picture there that you've got in for today.
Mhm.
The eyes are what get me. Your eyes just kind of stand out at me when I look at it.
Yeah, I love this picture.
Totally look. She totally
I
looks like
love
a
it
superhero
too.
on
Is
that
it
picture.
Yam Yam?
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks like Yam Yam style. I
Yeah.
love his art. I am jealous of his art. Like he's one of the ones I compare myself to.
I can't
When I'm
afford his
drawing.
art.
Both mine
He's-
and
He's
42's
reasonably
picture.
priced, but
Yeah, he
oh
is.
my gosh.
But still, I can't. Even though I know he's reasonably priced, even then I can't. And yes, your ex, it is really bad when they creep on somebody they know is in a relationship with someone.
The worst for me is that people tend to assume I'm a lot younger than I am, and then they still creep on me while assuming I'm younger than I am.
which
And
is really creepy.
it is. I actually had a guy message me on Facebook, and he assumed I was a teenager. I don't know why. I don't think I sound like a teenager. But when I
Hmm.
told him my real age, he said that I was deceptive and started insulting me. And then he was like, "I'm unsubscribing," and I'm like, "Good,
Okay, see you
creep."
later. Bye, dude.
Good. I don't need a
Because
Got
pedophile
a
on my.
15-year-old child that I can mold and make do things. I'm out. Bye.
pretty much, it was the creepiest thing. But yeah, it was. I get the weirdest comments and messages on Facebook.
Oh, my
Twitter
skin's
is
crawling.
like my safe space. Nothing bad ever happens on Twitter, but on Facebook, I get
Maybe
the
to you.
creepiest people.
Congratulations,
maybe
Penny.
it's
You just
just
made my skin crawl.
maybe I'm
oh
just
golly.
lucky on Twitter,
You're
but I get it worse on Facebook, and I don't know why. But yeah, somebody thought I was like 15 or 16, and then they were really disappointed I wasn't. And that was
I
years ago, and I'll never forget how creeped out I felt.
that is so hi fearsome hero. That is so disgusting.
I fearsome. Right? Oh.
I mean, oh yeah, I don't know if somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, you sound like," and I know I don't. You sound like a 12-year-old. What do you look like? Can I see your boobs? I'd be like,
No.
block.
Pretty much.
Hold on.
I know. Why'd you
screenshot.
contact me if you thought I was a minor? You have no business contacting me if you think I'm a minor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Screenshot.
And
Find
my
out where
husband's
this
over
guy.
here going boob, boob, boob.
Find out where that guy's at. Contact his local authorities and have them do a thorough search of his property. I'm pretty sure you'll find something. Put his ass in jail.
FBI, here you go.
Right?
This
Yeah, they're
guy's
probably on a
creepy.
watch list now, but I've only had that happen once. But most of the creepy things that have happened to me have been Facebook. On Twitter, I think that I got well immersed in the horror community pretty quickly, and I lurk more than I talk to people, so I think I've gotten
Me
lucky
too.
because of that. But the
I w-
people I do know are all good people.
Yeah, I will, and this is I think you're the same way. I sit here and I'll read Twitter.
Hmm.
I don't make a comment unless I feel like I have something to add to the conversation. If somebody else has already said what's gone through my head as a comment, I'm not going to say.
I mean, yeah, I'm a lurker, definitely a lurker.
So I won't say a lot. But if
don't
I
either.
feel somebody needs to hear that comment that's in my head, I will. Yeah, that's
Speak
just
up.
how. But yeah,
Yeah, there's a
How
few
you doing,
things I
fearsome?
will, but mostly I lurk.
Mostly, I just use YouTube to tweet people out, and then I just go. Twitter to tweet people out, and I'm like, I'm done. Bye, and I'll forget Twitter's thing for a while.
yeah. If I'm tweeting somebody out, it's because I'm watching their video and I'm hitting the share button. People don't message me directly normally on Twitter.
Yeah, Wolf, I'm the same dude.
Yeah, I like to retweet people, but I don't really think I retweet that much anymore because I got somebody said, "You retweet too much. You need to stop it." Okay, fine, whatever. I don't, and I guess I'm lucky, like you, Penny.
You've been mistaken for a 15-year-old who had a creeper. No, just kidding.
No, I mean that I haven't, and it's a little bit different than that. I haven't actually been exposed to a lot of the creepy stuff that females get on. Now I'm going to because I'm saying it. No, I
Someone's
don't get.
listening.
I
Oh,
don't.
she hasn't. Let me
I-
fix that.
I don't
I
get dick
can
pics
remedy
in my
that for
inbox.
you.
I don't get. Yeah. Yeah, other than PA sending me pictures of himself and calling himself a dick pic. I don't, because I know he's going to do it just because I said that.
He's in the middle of doing it
but
right now.
this goes back to I'm a gamer. A lot of people don't know that I'm a gamer. Um, and my husband and I have played MMOs since as long as we've been together. But we would make we made twins in one game. I don't even remember what game it was. I think it was Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars.
Well, that was a good
And we
game.
made characters that were identical. Everything was identical, right? And we had them standing side by side. His character, neither one of us have said a word at this point. And sorry about that.
Apologize if you guys can hear the fan in the background. My computer's getting warm, so I had to turn it on.
Okay. And he's getting hit on. He's getting, I'll give you 25 gold if you'll come over here and ERP with me. You know, and that type of thing. And my character is getting there totally ignored. And I'm like, I don't know what the difference is because we looked exactly alike. The only real difference was like 3 letters in the name
That's
of the
funny.
characters. And his character is getting hit on. Neither one of us have said anything. His character is getting hit on all over the place, and my character is being totally ignored. And I don't think if that just carried over into Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and so forth, and YouTube even. I did have some people who are posting porn as a comment in my YouTube videos for a while, but I
I
kept
think those are
reporting them.
bots.
I think they are, and I reported them, and I haven't had them since.
Oh, I
get
get like, yeah, I get them too. So I've gotten like 3 and like 1 video. I reported it. 2 minutes later, I had another one. Reported it. 2 minutes later, I had another one. Reported it. And after the 3rd one, they finally didn't
5.
come back.
I got
you, five.
5
Mother
in one
gets
video.
My
Wow.
mother has a resin channel where she does resin tutorials, and
Oh,
she
nice.
gets those links too. And I'm like, leave my mom alone. I'm in there moderating her comments for her.
We got a new person in
Welcome,
the chat.
Hippie Homes.
Oh, that's a new
That's a
person.
cool name. I like that. Hippie Homes.
It's catchy.
It is.
Uh-huh. Well,
Hippie
Sherlock Holmes is
Homes.
too. Hippie Homes. But yeah, what games do I play? Minecraft? No, actually, I should learn Minecraft because my granddaughter plays Minecraft, and I think that would be a cool way to do that with her instead of sitting there watching her play it. But she has taken, she is definitely her papa's granddaughter. She likes to build things in Minecraft. That's all she wants to do. She wants to build a house. She's got a house. She's got animal. I don't know what she. It's a barn, but she calls it something. An animal living space, I think, is what she called it. But yeah, it's that type of thing. Yeah, there were links to porn sites, so I reported them. Report them.
Yeah.
You let YouTube deal with them. I'm not dealing with them.
No, I report all of them all the time, just to hopefully get rid of them. So, any questions?
I hate
we should ask.
I hate that I hate that I can't report for other people.
So, Penny, out of random
Mhm.
curiosity, how do you get your ideas for stories? Do you come up with them? Do they come to you in dreams? Do you use writing prompts on the internet?
It really depends on the story. A lot of them are inspired by just like the weird things I'm actually afraid of. And some of them are just a title or a line popped into my head, and then I'm like, I like that. How can I make a story around that? So it's a little bit of everything for me.
Oh, nice.
But a lot of my weird ones are because I'm weird.
So how speaking of weird things, how long is the story that you have prepared to read?
Let me check.
Also, for anybody new in the chat, Hippie Holmes, Raptor Rex. If you haven't checked out 242, Mia, Penny, and myself, please do so. We all have content on our channels, and everybody in here, for the most part, is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
And
we have a lot of
I'm okay, I suppose.
amazing.
All the links are
We
in
have
the
a lot of
description
amazing-
box.
I don't do good with complimenting myself, okay?
I know that. We have a lot of amazing writers, narrators,
Artists.
artists.
Speaking of,
And then we have
I'm going through the list. I'm looking at the list. We got Fearsome Hero, Lone Wolf, PA Nightmares, 242, Rando Calracian, which if he doesn't actually narrate yet,
we had Raven in the chat.
we have Raven in the chat. We have Vidith. We have Penny. There's so many wonderful artists and narrators and writers. You know, just give them a listen. I end up subscribing to everybody because I enjoy them, but you don't have to. If you don't like it, don't subscribe. Don't hurt them that way.
One more shameless plug. So I plugged Penny and her channel earlier. Guys, be sure to check out my channel Monday, because the story that I got coming out is a story from Penny Tailsup called Pass It On. It's an amazing story, and you won't want to miss it. Also, hey, are you afraid of the art? What's going on, dude?
Speaking of another artist.
He's definitely not an artist. Not at all. Nope. Not one bit.
No.
Yeah, not with a name like that. Are you afraid of the art? Yeah. No, he's a great
not
artist.
a horror
He's
artist.
awesome.
But he and Penny have a different style.
Everyone
And at the
has.
same time, I can watch both of them and enjoy both of them doing their art and be totally amazed at what they're doing and going, I have no idea how you're doing that. I can see it, but I can't do it. That's why I think it amazes me.
I am really glad that even though I'm really insecure about the art, that I started doing it. If you actually look at my channel, and you don't even have to subscribe, just look at it. Go from my first video all the way to my current video, and you can see this dramatic change in my art. You can see that forcing myself to do art for every video has actually forced me to improve my art. So
You know
I
how
don't
to-
hate my art nearly as much as I used to.
Penny, you do know how to set it up so that you have a playlist that goes in that direction from your first one to your last one.
I do, but I usually just add them as I do them. So I think that does it automatically. I have a few playlists. I sort it by things I wrote, things that are compilations, things I didn't write.
Yeah, my uploads is actually from the beginning forward. Then I've got my newest uploads, which goes backwards.
For the longest time, my oldest videos were hidden because I was embarrassed by them. But people talked me into letting them be visible again, because then people could see the progression. And I was like, okay, fine.
That's why I did that, because in watching other people like you, I learned so much from seeing that they're older ones and seeing how they grew just by doing. And I'm bringing them up again. Let's Read and Jensen. Watching their live streams made me more confident as well. Which
So
sounds
we should let Penny read the story so she has time to do it.
Oh, yeah. I guess you guys want a story.
Yes.
My stories tend to be on the long sides. I picked one of my shorter ones, which is still probably not as short as would be ideal for a podcast. But I will not be offended if I need to be cut off. Let me see if I can find it. I had it pulled up and then my phone freaked out.
Of course it did. Technology.
phone.
Let's see.
And what I was going to say to that is, yes, I was going to hide all my first videos because I'm actually pretty embarrassed by my first ones. But at the same time, that's where I started. I had a mic with a sock on it. I was making do with what I had.
My first ones I
You,
did with my phone, just my phone. Actually, my very first video is the only video that doesn't have any of my art in it at all.
Oh wow.
And I made sure it was um, free to use, royalty free. I think it was from Pixabay or something. But after
mhm.
that, I don't know. I was just so nervous about accidentally stealing someone's art because it's never my intention. But because I'm an artist, I guess I'm hyper aware of it. Even though I'm not even, I don't consider myself a professional artist or anything.
Yeah,
But I still don't want my art getting stolen either.
yeah, and I agree with that. I tried to use a laptop. Anything I recorded on my phone or my laptop had so much echo. I couldn't. I just said I can't use this at all.
I had never even thought of my phone, to be honest. And it has a mic in
I
it.
used my phone
Uh,
and Audacity, I believe it's called. I
Yes,
don't use Audacity anymore, but that's what I started with.
I still use
Okay.
Audacity.
Most people still use Audacity, actually. It's a really good
I
free
like
plugin.
Audacity.
Audacity is like a godsend for a free, it's a free software, but it's freaking amazing.
Yes, I mean I'm not knocking it, but I also use the Photoshop and Creative Suite for Adobe. So I ended up getting audio editing software as part of having Photoshop
Oh,
and
cool.
Premiere. So I switched to Audition because I
I
had the
wish
Creative Cloud.
I miss
Not because
Audition.
I became a snob about Audacity. I like Audacity, but
I
I
used
have
to
the
have Audition when I worked for
bundle.
the radio station, and that was before they had it bundled in with everything else.
It's
And I
not
love
intuitive,
Audition.
but I like it.
Yeah, it's not, and I got used to it, and I loved using it and everything. But then I couldn't afford the upgrades, and then they went to the way they're doing things now, and I can't afford that. So I use Audacity
Alright.
at least now.
Did you find your story?
Yes, I did.
Good.
So the story I'm going to read is Neon Nylon Strings, and it is inspired by the really weird fear I have of sticking my hand between couch cushions. This is something that actually freaks me out. So I thought one day I was just like, you need to justify being afraid of this, write a story. And this is the story I wrote. So, Neon Nylon Strings. And I've never read a story live before, so be kind. Okay. I've always had an aversion to the cracks between things. You know, tiny, dark spaces where a hand barely fits but often ventures, in search of something lost. It's always something important you lose in those places, isn't it? Car keys, a watch, a cell phone. Things that will have you groping the darkness without much thought. The worst for me was the cracks in the couch, those narrow pockets of darkness. It wasn't a rational fear, but knowing that didn't help. I took measures to avoid searching there, obsessively keeping track of things so I wouldn't lose them in the first place. For example, my keys always hung in the same place, and my cell phone was either charging or clipped to my pants. The television remote took a little more ingenuity. Even though I had a place for it, it always had a way of ending up between the cushions. I'd know exactly where it was and go fishing in the cracks with a pair of tongs because I couldn't bear sticking my hand down there. I was tired of living like that. I hated myself for being afraid of something so benign. I couldn't help it though. I had an instinct that all the logic in the world couldn't shake. I thought I'd found the perfect solution when I found the string. Braided neon nylon. I bought a spool of orange, the color of construction crews and traffic cones. I tied a string around the remote, leaving 6 feet of length to dangle and drape over the coffee table. It worked beautifully. The remote was always easy to find. That string was easy to see. When the remote inevitably found its way between couch cushions, I'd reel in the string at a strategic angle. It worked well. Why wouldn't I try it with other things too? I bought more neon nylon string, several spools in different colors, orange, yellow, and green. I'd tied them to everything small and easily lost. My headphones, the charger, the kitchen scissors, even the salt and pepper shakers. It worked so well, I brought the strategy out of the house too. I tied the yellow strings to things that should always be on my person. My phone, my keys, my wallet. If I ever saw yellow, I'd know I lost something. My pockets were always bulging with balls of yellow string. For peace of mind, it was a small price to pay. At work, I tied green strings to things that fall in that space between the wall and the desk. The pens, tape, and stapler. It was an orderly chaos, those neon nylon strings. There was a method to my madness, but no one else understood it. When my boss called me into the office about the complaints, I did my best to explain. He didn't get it, but he couldn't make me stop. I could do whatever I wanted, so long as the items were my personal property, and I wasn't tying them on company time. With time, my house resembled an art project rather than a living space. Bright orange strings draped across every surface in every direction, carefully laid out, strategically placed. Walking around became an exercise in balance and flexibility, but still, it was worth it. Of course, there is no such thing as a perfect solution. The problems with this method of organization began to present themselves before long. The strings tangled. It became hard to tell which strings attached to what. I spent a lot of time maintaining, untangling everything, and monitoring the cracks between things to see if any thread led into the dark. I stopped inviting people over. It was too tiring to explain. No explanation I could give seemed adequate. I knew it was strange, but it made me feel safer. I was in complete control, the puppet master in this colorful world. There were other problems too. The slightest movement would cause a chain reaction. The strings constantly quivered and rustled softly, with only the slightest touch. Even a breeze through an open window was enough to cause constant motion. I always saw movement in my periphery, only to realize it was the string when I turned to check. At night, I'd wake up because several strands would swipe softly against my skin. Once I realized it was just the string, I'd relax and fall back asleep. But that initial moment, half asleep, when you feel an unexplained touch, terrifying. After a while, I got used to the poking and prodding of the strings and stopped noticing, until the night I woke up on the floor. I wasn't sure why I'd woken up at first, reaching for the black light on my nightstand, only to realize I was touching carpet. Unable to see in the dark, I waited for my eyes to adjust. Before long, the furniture around me took shape, only slightly darker than the blackness around me. Once I was better oriented, I was able to sit up and reach the nightstand. I felt resistance as I found the light, and realized with the neon illumination that I had somehow become tangled in the strings. Thick bundles of cord were coiled around my calves and left elbow, pulled taut. The string stretched out the door and down the hall, vibrating and twisting, braiding together as though to form a thick rope. I tried to reach down and untangle myself, but it was too difficult. Panic set in when my body unexpectedly moved. The knots tightened, and by a sharp pull, I slid across the carpet, towards the door, becoming more tangled as I struggled. I caught the door frame with my free hand before I could be yanked out, the door frame creaking in protest as the wood strained and warped. I heard things breaking in another room, and the soft scrape of objects being dragged. All of the strings were moving in one direction. The persistent tug didn't stop. My grip grew weaker as I held on for dear life, until my sweaty fingers slipped. Splinters of wood bit into my skin, and once again I was reeled into the deepening darkness down the hall. I fumbled for furniture, anything I could catch onto, and found nothing. I felt like a fish on the end of a line, and caught the catch of some unseen monstrosity in the dark. It was not a gentle current, knocking me into walls and the various objects that joined me on this harrowing journey. Raw terror almost sent me into a blind panic, but my survival instincts kicked in. Nature and genetics hadn't bestowed me with sharp claws, but I still had teeth and I used them, tearing like an animal at the strands that had twisted about my elbow. The friction tore at the corners of my mouth, but I ignored the pain and bit down as hard as I could, sawing at the threads until they frayed and snapped. It worked, though my mouth was burning and bloody. Long limp strands of string hung from the crook of my elbow. Now I had control of both arms. I started ripping off my pajama bottoms, screaming in pain when I dislocated my ankle to slip free from the massive knot. I felt like a coyote in a trap, doing what I could to free myself, even if it meant an injury. Free, I hobbled down the hall on one foot. It was easy enough to dodge the undulating strings as they began to converge into one thick mass. I turned on the hallway light, using the wall as support as I eased myself slowly towards the kitchen. I was in bad shape, covered in rug burn and blood. Adrenaline kept me moving even when I shouldn't have been able to stand. Not much was left of the kitchen. Everything I'd tied had already been pulled into that tangled body. Fortunately, the knife block hadn't made it far. For practical reasons, I hadn't tied strings to any of the knives. Although the block had been knocked to the floor, the knives were still safely housed inside. I grabbed the biggest one with my least injured hand. Armed, I limped after the strings into the living room, the source of the pull. When I turned on the lights, I could see objects catching on things, getting stuck. Everything was converging on the couch, in the gap between the left armrest and the cushions. Now that I was closer to the source, I could hear it. A sucking sound, wet and smacking, as though my couch were enjoying a plate of pasta, noodles of string being slurped into that cramped abyss. Pushing back the disbelief, I got to work with the knife, hacking inelegantly at the writhing neon vein, freeing what positions I could before they were all sucked into that bottomless maw. I didn't save much, but it was better than nothing. At sunrise, I paid the paperboy $100 to dump the couch on the curb for me, and another $20 so he wouldn't ask questions. Even at a distance, from the safety of my window, I could still see those neon nylon strings, a spray of orange twisted into the frayed ends of a rope. It stuck out of the gap, only a few inches in length, as if to bait me to reach out and reel the darkness in. I could reclaim all I'd lost with just a pull of the strings. But no, I wouldn't take the bait. I knew something was waiting on the other side to pull me in. No, I'd let my lost things stay lost. For all my fear, I'd somehow neglected to remember that a string can be pulled from both ends. And that was Neon Nylon Strings, my really weird story about my really weird fear.
That's really awesome. Is what
I
that was.
love that.
It was really well done.
Yes.
Thank you.
And hello, idiotic synergy.
You joined right about as we're closing out, idiotic synergy. But definitely watch it
If
back
you
because
another one that's very similar, at least to me, is the mattress, the new mattress story that she's got.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I
That one,
love that one.
I wrote that story out of spite. And I love it. I can't
there's a
help it.
link to the story that Penny just read. If you guys want to go check out her video and watch her art as it gets created on the screen, because it's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the first few videos I did. One of the first few stories I've written. So I think that my writing style and my narration style developed a lot since then. But that story will always have a special place in my heart because of what inspired it. And it really is because I don't like sticking my hand between couch cushions. I don't.
That was a fantastic
Well,
story. Great job.
I think the mattress story hits home because it's got so much in it as far as the newness of something that you have never lived through before. You know?
Yes. I love writing stories about weird inanimate objects becoming creepy. And the mattress one is high on the list. But I wrote that story because around that time, rules stories were really popular on No Sleep. And on the Out of Character subreddit, people were complaining about all the rule stories. So I was like, I'm gonna write a rule story then.
Uh,
So the mattress story was written out of spite, but of course I had to pick a random weird object to center the story on. Another weird object story I did was about a washing machine.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you some idea where I take these weird mundane things in my life and I turn them into a horror story.
She and who would have thought of strings? I mean, seriously.
well, Penny, it's not on my channel yet, but currently it's only on Raven's channel. But I'm gonna be doing it here shortly. I wrote a story called "Sticks and Stones," and it's literally based off sticks and stones that break your bones, but words will never hurt you. I turned a saying into a story.
I think doing stuff like that is really fun. I like to do that too. I mean, I draw inspiration from a lot of things. And I think everyday objects is one of them, and just weird fears is
I
one
have
of
one
them. But
about
sometimes
a
it's just,
laptop.
I mean, Pass It On was based
Yeah.
on people saying, pass it on, and passing notes. I mean, it's a passing notes horror story.
Yeah, I'm literally excited for everybody to hear it because I had a lot of fun reading that story and I really enjoyed it.
That is still my most upvoted story on Reddit. It was
Oh,
one
nice.
of the first ones I wrote, and I was really surprised when it took off the way it did. It's been on the No Sleep podcast, but they changed the ending on the No Sleep podcast, and it's been on Mr. Creepypasta's channel
Yeah.
and Creeps McPasta's channel. It actually picked up a lot of steam. It's been everywhere, I feel like. Actually, I haven't narrated it yet. Like, everybody's narrated it but me.
Y'all remember to hit the like button and let us know you like what you're hearing. We are 8 over now.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
No, no, it's
No,
okay.
it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Uh, Might as well wrap it up and say goodbye to people in the chat.
Is there anything that you would like to tell us about yourself or give advice to other narrators
Or
or
writers or artists.
artists?
I tried to ask, but I didn't
I would
work.
just say, even if you don't believe in yourself, keep at it, because even if you don't like what you're doing, you're going to improve, and eventually you're going to get there.
Totally agree.
But I don't know. Maybe that's we're already over, so I'm like panicking. What should I say? I can't think of anything deep.
No, that's actually very good advice. Keep
That's
trying.
really good.
You're,
Thank you.
every single person I've met who's done narrating or writing or arting.
Arting.
Yes, arting.
Artie.
English is hard.
I don't
Shush.
art.
Yes, your first stuff is going to suck. You're going to hate it, but you're only going to get better as you go.
Exactly. That was what I was going with. I was trying to say
you-
that.
You do
Consider it a bad story
And-
by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not my favorite story. But the choice that took me 2 years to get done and many, many drafts, and I have improved greatly since that story.
And, the only way you get better is by doing.
Hmm.
You wanna be a-
Exactly.
You want to be a great writer, read and write. You want to be a
And even
great
listen.
artist and listen. Look at other people's art and find your own way there. Nobody's art is the same. I mean,
No one's-
Penny does amazing work on her channel. If you watch hers, watch Are You Afraid of the Art? He does his with pen and paper.
Yeah.
That blows my mind. I like digital art. You can erase.
But
Yeah.
before we go, I just want to let everybody know that next week we will be having the show at 5 p.m. EST, not 7. It's 42's birthday actually next Saturday. So we're doing it a little early so she can, have her plans and enjoy her birthday.
Also, another plug. That morning, we're also going to have As the Raven Dreams, PA Nightmares, Silver Threads, and me on a live stream. So, But
On
it won't be
242's
here.
channel.
Yeah, on my channel.
What time that morning?
It will be. It's 8 o'clock my time, so 10.
9. It'd be 9 for you because you're an hour behind me, Mia.
10 Eastern.
And I'm still on the. Hi, honeys. I did just before this. Yes, 42 is going to have her birthday next week. So we all wish her a happy birthday this week and next week.
Next week. It's all good.
I just want to let y'all know that we
Happy
were
early
doing
birthday.
Thank you.
I just wanted to let everybody know that we were doing it at 5 next week. That way, you weren't all caught off guard.
And our special
Right.
guest is Seraphine the Midnight Bard.
It's my birdie boo.
who had a birthday last week.
Yes, that I streamed.
And I yes, you did. And I'm planning still to have a live stream for my 400.
The horror
Question and
community
answer.
people coming together to help others out.
Yes. That's
Yep.
the one thing I really love about the horror community. We are all so friendly and more than willing to help each other. It's not what you expect when you hear someone likes horror.
Well,
That is so true.
and if somebody in the
all-
horror community
like-
feels like they've been slighted or they've been ignored or something like that, they need to ask for help because we don't know if we can help you if we don't ask. And we want to help.
The
We wanna-
live streams, if you're talking about the live streams here, Wolf, they usually last an hour.
Give or
Today we
take.
went a little over.
It depends on it. Like the shows, I try to make them an hour. But I mean, if you guys went, hey, can we go a little bit longer? I'd be like, okay, we'll do a little bit longer.
Yeah.
There's nothing after this. There's nothing before this, so we're not as set in stone here as we were before. So
Well, it works out for me.
Very
'cause
well
I think
said.
we probably would have been cut off mid-story because my story was long, even though it's one of my short ones.
Your story was great.
And your story went over 4 minutes. That's not even that bad.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad. I was trying to write something new, like basically all week, and I just couldn't do it. But I'm glad I had that one at least.
Well, it's like somebody
Shorter.
says, read a 10-minute story, and it I actually had somebody ask me to read a 2 or 3 minute story, and I was like, I don't think I have a 2 or 3 minute story. I spent a month looking for a 2 or 3 minute story and trying to write one, and I just could not do it.
I have one, but nobody gets it. I have a really very short story. It was on Scary Short Stories a while back, and all the comments were like, "What?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's not a good story if I have to explain it," so I deleted it. But
Aw.
I do have it. One day, I think I'm gonna rewrite it so that people don't go, "What?"
You should send it to me so I can read it. I want to see if I get it.
I read.
It's in the cat compilation video I did.
Nice.
I have the cat scary stories. It was the short one was called Kittens, and a lot of people didn't get it. It was too short to have its own video, but I put it in a cat compilation video because they were all cat themed stories.
That worked.
I have a lot of cat horror stories. I have even more that I'm still writing. I love cats.
You love
wouldn't
cats.
believe it.
you
I love them
cats,
so much.
But you write horror
Always
stories. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I had I have a horror story with a cat in it on mine, but I'm not going to tell you which it is because then I'd give away the story.
Mm.
I wrote a
I
horror,
have
I
so
wrote
many.
a horror story revolving around a dog.
Yeah, you did, and it's really good.
And extremely dark.
Yeah,
You know, that's
It's very
just,
dark.
That's just how I do.
you're gonna use the
It's
recording
crypto
too.
dark.
You're gonna use
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna use
recording.
the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recorded it for if you guys haven't checked it out for 242's 242 collab,
242.
and I'm gonna use this. I just recently recorded it. It was on the new mic and everything, so I'm just gonna use that recording for one of my videos because I have a tooth extraction upcoming, so I'm gonna have to have some stories just done ahead of time to make sure you guys have content to listen to.
Also, you can't do that voice again.
Oh yeah, that voice was hell. Yeah, if you guys haven't heard it, I did I did my intro voice, but I went like halved on it, so it was low and grumbly, but it wasn't like as deep as it usually is. and to read that whole story, you'll hear when my voice starts to give out from time to time in it. It's like 12 minutes of hell.
Yeah, doing voices is always interesting depending on which voice you're doing, and with the ones that you do that are like that dog, um, they got to hurt your voice because of the way you're doing it. I mean,
Yeah, I was
the one
talking like
that's
this for 12 freaking minutes. It was not fun.
And it was longer
The
because
one-
you know he made mistakes.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I made a lot of mistakes and I was not happy.
You know, that's honestly why I started asking other people to collab with me, because at first I was too shy. Otherwise, I would have done it sooner. But it was just so hard to switch between voices. I couldn't do it. I have a few on my channel where I did all the voices, but I feel like you can tell I did all the voices.
Mhm.
You can
Yeah,
tell I did all the
and
voices.
you hear your
You can tell
you hear
I heard
your
all the
own
voices.
voice, even though you've made a different voice for it. You still hear your own voice.
Me trying to do a man voice is so painful, like physically and hearing it.
Like it's. I've always thought that in my speaking voice is very low compared to the normal woman's voice, but it's still hard for me to do a guy's voice.
I just lower my voice a
Well-
little bit if it doesn't sound like a guy. Well, you know I'm playing a guy. Deal with
Well
it.
then,
I'm a girl.
Right.
well
I can
then,
do
deal
kid
with
voice.
it. You know.
But I can't.
Well, this-
I can't do a man. I can't.
This is my normal voice, and whenever I talk to a female, I talk like this. I soften my voice just ever so slightly for the voice.
And I do this. Just kidding. I can't.
Well, when I did Beautiful Nightmares book, about halfway through, I said, "Why didn't I make Dean's voice closer to my own?"
Oops.
Because you wanted to torture yourself. That's why.
All right, we should wrap this up, guys.
Okay.
But all right, everybody, thank you so much for coming, Penny. It was a pleasure
Thanks for having
you.
me.
And we should
Might
definitely
have
do
you
it again
back.
sometime because it was a lot
Yes.
of fun.
I'll try to be less nervous next time. Actually-
You're fine.
I
Are you
wasn't
less
at
nervous
first.
now?
I am now, but at first I was really nervous. I was really nervous before we even got on. I was like, I haven't been on a live stream for a long time. But it was fun, and I will totally do it again.
Good to hear.
Everybody,
Love
thank
you
you for
all.
coming. We love you guys. And remember, once you enter my realm, there is no stepping out.
Be safe, everyone.
Once you join the Nevermore Collective, or once you join the collective, you leave Nevermore.